Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh Shemel Shabbat Shemakar Kodash. Shalom to the hopeful elect out there. And I'm going to entitle this video, this is an important video. I'm going to entitle this video, If You Don't Know or Understand the Hebrew and or Greek, you don't really understand the Bible. And ultimately you will suffer the death, the second death, which is the lake of fire, which, by the way, is America on fire and John on the Isle of Patmos, seeing the vision of America being on fire from a bird's eye view or a schematic. He's up in space or up in the sky looking down. Well, you have to be far enough in the sky to see the entire, from coast to coast, from the north to the south to the east to the west. He didn't see the middle of America. He saw the whole America, and he saw the Pacific on one end, one coast, and the Atlantic on the other. And he saw in the middle of that, he saw this mass on fire. That the lake of fire is referring to Babylon the Great being set on fire by way of the missiles, mainly the missiles, because Apostle Kabar says the lasers, which is true, but the main thing are the missiles, because that's the Most High. That's the Most High's army. The Most High put this mind, the spirit, in the minds of these German scientists. I'm doing did some research recently, and I believe they had the space race between the Russians and the U.S. They also had a race to build that ultimately the ICBM missile, and they both have it because there was a race for the Germans to get as many Russians to get as many German scientists on their side, and then there was a rush on the other end of America to get as many German scientists on their side. Like there was many of them. You know, you have Robert Oppenheimer. There's a movie coming out about him. He had made a statement. He had quoted a Hindu proverb. He said, I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. And he cried about that because he knew that this bomb that the Germans and him made, he was a so-called German Jew. He had to be teaming, because the American Edomites, they couldn't make a bomb. The Russians, they couldn't make a bomb. It was given to Teman. That's why we say that the Temanites are the Germans, because they're known for their wisdom. So the Most High put the spirit on Teman to put that bomb together. That's in Isaiah, 54, verse 17. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject. But let's get into the subject concerning the Greek, Hebrew and the Greek, and even the Aramaic. You know, you have these individuals from the IUIC that they have made statements that these guys make you can't make a doctrine out of from the Hebrew and the Greek. No, you can't, but the Hebrew and the Greek is part of the doctrine. The Hebrew and the Greek, and for that matter, the Aramaic, is part of the doctrine. And you cannot get a full, perfect, 100% understanding of the scriptures unless you know. And I'm not saying to speak from, because they'll say, well, y'all can't speak, y'all can't hold the conversation in Hebrew and Greek. No, we never said we did. But I can open up a book, I can read something in Japanese. There's like a Japanese word, and I might want to know, well, what does it mean? How do you translate it into English? I'll go to Google, put the Japanese word in there, say this is a Japanese word meaning such and such in English. And if I remember it, if I look at it enough, I'll remember the word. Like when I was a child, I was in the martial arts, Japanese style, Kyokushinkai. I remember a lot of those Japanese words. I remember like geri. Geri means kick, like Mawasha geri is roundhouse. You know, king geri is kick to the groin, you know? And then you learn some other certain words and you kind of be able to say, I used to be able to speak a little bit of Japanese, you know? Like if I say nan desu ka, that means like what? What did you say? I didn't hear you. Nan desu ka. Or if I said it like what nigga, I would say nani. Just to Ohio gozaimasu, meaning good morning. Ohio, good morning. Gumbai wa, I believe, is good evening, and konnichiwa is good afternoon. You know, so I don't speak fluent Japanese, but I understand a couple of, and back in the day, I understood a lot more words. So, I mean, I understand some Spanish words. I can understand a lot of times people speak Spanish, I pick up what they're saying. You know, most of the time I pick up what they're saying. So I know enough Spanish to know some of what they're saying. But I don't speak the language. My language that I speak is English. Now, our language is supposed to be Hebrew, right? We know some Hebrew words. Back in One West days, me and High Priest Ariel used to hold conversations in the Hebrew because we were practicing it so much. Now, we had an individual, I'm going to get into the subject, just reminiscing. We had a brother by the name of Shalimar, and he came up under Ariel. He was in the school before I was, maybe 6 months before I was, 3 months or whatever the case may be. So High Priest Ariel would teach the history, would teach prophecy. That's all he went into. Prophecy, history. He went into the Josephus. You were required to get the Josephus, the Torah, the Tanakh, the New Testament Hebrew. Now Esau wanted High Priest Ariel to teach in the school system. They asked him, they said, we want you to teach in the school system in New York. And he kind of turned it down because it would have took a certain amount of times. But High Priest Yeshai was an actual school teacher in New York. He was actually certified school teacher in New York. You know, still reminiscent, so bear with me. But anyway, High Priest Ariel would go into, that's all he would deal with. He can go on any scriptures, but his thing was prophecy. Prophecy, he would go over it and over it. Revelation 13, read the whole chapter. You know, Revelation 18, read the whole chapter. Let's go to Daniel 7. Let's go to Ezekiel 1, 2, 3. Let's go to Zechariah 14. Obadiah. His thing was the prophecies, man. His thing with those prophecies. And anybody from One West will tell you that. And I came in the 80s. So anyway, you had Barak. He was there. You had General, Barak was in there before me. The HODC, he was in there maybe 2 months before me, maybe 3. Shalimar, I think had been in there for maybe 6 months, maybe a year. He'd been in there, but definitely he was in there before me. Yohana came in about 2 months later. 2 months after I came in, the famous General Yohana. And so we were at crop. Ariella came in around that time, a little bit after Johanna, General Johanna, Ariella came in. And there was a couple more brothers. In other words, it was a spirit. The door opened for a lot of people to come in. Everything is spiritual. Because prior to that, it was pretty much, prior to me coming in, or I would say 84, 83, 82, 81, 79. You didn't have no big classes at all. You had people that kind of knew about the truth and went to the school, and it was like a church to them. They would go to school, they would learn scripture, they would go home, and the top teachers were the only ones that would go out and speak. And I think it was a little lull in the speaking for about a month, but I'm thinking back, and when we came in, it's like all of us kind of came in, and all of a sudden the school started really opening up when us young men came in. You know, we were like moving fast. We was out there. I remember on Saturdays, give me some history. I'm gonna get back in the subject. Bear with me. On Saturdays, we used to go out. Sometimes we wouldn't go out to Harlem, but they used to, the heads used to hate going to Harlem. A couple of times we went to certain places in Brooklyn, but nothing would pan out. You know, Jake would listen, nothing would really pan out. Harlem, they would hate going to Harlem because nothing happened in Harlem. And that was where the school was at. Let me see. I remember Saturdays we would go to 34th Street, and Sundays we would go to 44th Street. So I remember I was real close to the seven, Marshall and Aria, and the rest of the seven. And I remember Aria because he would be out there every week with us. You know, he would be the head man. And I told him I would talk, and I would say, I said, "High Priest Aria," I said, "Why don't we getting kind of big? So why don't we just split the camp, and we can have 44th going and 34th going at the same time?" And he said, "Yeah, we can do that." And so then the following week, that's when 44th was really open on Saturdays. 44th was camp, you know, in front of the 1515 building was a Sunday camp. And a Sunday, you got people, but it wasn't that big. But Saturdays, you know, they should have had the 44th camp going Saturdays for the longest, because you get a big crowd on 34th, but you would get an even bigger crowd in front of the 1515 building, which is 44th and Broadway. And then the spirit had jumped on me to, well, it was me and Lahab to go to Brooklyn, and we opened up the famous Fulton and Hoyt camp, which Barack became the head of, and Yashawan. But me and Ariala, we were heading that camp, and we said, "Look, let's open up the Bronx." It was just me and Ariala. I said, "Let's go to the Bronx. Let's open up territory in the Bronx and let them guys deal with it." And they kind of dealt with it. And then I kind of wound up being back on 34th. And no, I'm sorry, Ariala lived in Brooklyn, but he would go hop on the train or whatever, go to 34th, and I would come all the way down to Brooklyn, or I would go to whatever 44th. So it was crazy, but it was opening up. It was opening up. And then we had like there were certain cable shows. But really, the thing that really opened this thing up was the YouTube, mainly the YouTube. Mainly the YouTube. And that's when the masses came in. So, you know, we're at that stage where all the prophecies are being fulfilled. There's only one prophecy left for the deliverance and the destruction, and that's the Charagma. So it behooves General Yohana to get with the program, or at least study it. It behooves General, he'll keep changing his name, General Nathaniel went back to the Paleo Hebrew, which he used to talk bad about. He also called that Hebrew Ebonic, so he went back to his Ebonic names. Got to watch a man that's always changing, man. Always changing the subject, change his name. You know, James chapter 1 says about a double-minded man. He's always changing up. But anyway, I gave you a little bit history. And basically the subject is based upon knowing the Hebrew and the Greek. Not going to some school to spend 5 years learning how to fluently speak Hebrew and fluently, and going to Egypt and going to Israel and coming up under this school and that university. No, you can learn a language by going to Google or going to certain websites and put in the word. I heard somebody say in Spanish or whatever. Let me see. Was it que ahora es? So what does that mean? Or dímelo. You hear a lot of Dominicans say that. They'll say dímelo. Like it means talk to me, say something. You know? Like in Haitian, you got damn, they used to say it to me all the time. Damn, sac passe. Like it's like saying what's happening, what's going on, what's up, and you would say mavule, and I believe that's marvelous. So somebody say sac passe, you say mavule. So I don't have to know. I don't have to. Nah, nigga, you got to know the whole. You can't be speaking that. You can't be speaking. You ain't Haitian. You ain't this. You can't. Look, there's Gabar, Apostle Gabar. He speaks Haitian, and his parents spoke fluent. Both his mother and his father, which are supposed to be Benjaminites, spoke fluent Creole or the Haitian tongue. And Apostle Gabar knew some Haitian. He can say a few words in Haitian, but his parents spoke it fluently. So he could be a Levite. So anyway, so then let me get into the subject here. I gave you a little bit of reminiscing. Anyway, I wanted to deal with this precept right here. I'm not going to make this too much longer unless the Spirit jump on me. But you have to have some working knowledge of the Hebrew and the Koine Greek, otherwise known as the Biblical Greek. Because if you read the scriptures and you're not sure, you have a little debate. You got debate guys that debate each other. Sometimes you got to go in there. Well, that's from the Hebrew word. That means this. So you're wrong. But that's from the Greek word, which means that. Anyway, let me deal with this precept right here. And I already know that Apostle Ramlab is going to jump on this because this is right up his alley. You know, he likes to go into them words and stuff like that, which is cool. It says, and another thing, when we had the school in Connecticut, we taught that Hebrew. Them brothers knew that Hebrew, and everybody that was a man, that was a male in the school up in Connecticut, on Saturdays, you had to do the, I don't give a damn if you was in there for 6 months. You in there 6 months, you got to do the whole ceremony. Pull out the Torah, read the Torah. So every male in that school, which at that time was about 25 to 30 brothers, and then you had some sisters in there. You had okay, it's your week, brother. And at first they would get nervous. Then it was like nothing. Then my week came. I did it. Then Apostle Gabar's week came. Then Apostle Ricard's week came. So we were heavy into that, the ceremonies and going into the Hebrew. And we used to read the Torah. Anyway, let me get back into this. Please forgive me. So it says here, so I'm going to throw this out there as a question, you know, with this whole controversy of, you know, when does a man become a man, and when does a woman become a woman? In the ancient world or biblically, when does a man become a man and a woman become a woman? That's a topic too. I could have gave it that title. So anyway, I have a question. What does this mean? 1 Corinthians 7, verse 36. But if any man think that he behave himself uncomely toward his virgin. Now that word virgin is, if you go to the Greek, matter of fact, I'm gonna go to it. I think I have it up. The word there is, okay, if any man think that he behaved himself uncommonly toward his virgin. The word there is parthenos. Parthenos. Let me let you hear it. Okay, he says parthenos. I say parthenos. Parthenos, parthenos. That's in the Koine Greek. See, we're going over the heads of all these church Christians that go to church. We're not going over the heads of Christians that are scholars. All right. So now let me click on it. Now, Matthew's 1, when it speaks about Mary being a virgin, the word parthenos or parthenos is there, which they're wrong because the Isaiah does not follow Matthew. Matthew follows Isaiah. So when they translated the Matthew's 1 and they came across the word virgin in Isaiah, was that Isaiah 7:14? It didn't mean a virgin, a woman that's never been touched. It means damn. It means a young woman of marriageable age. Like if a woman has a couple of babies, she's still considered a maid, a virgin, not a parthenos. It says a virgin, a marriageable maiden, a woman who has never had sexual intercourse with a man, right? Which is bathwala in the Hebrew. So anybody that says, "Oh, why I gotta go through all that?" You got to go through that if you really want to know the scriptures. That's part of eating the word. So that word there, okay, that word is parthenos. Can we come back to it? Okay, virgin, parthenos is right. It's a man that you get, that you make an arrangement with the father, or the father sells his daughter to you, because you can sell your daughter. A Hebrew man can sell his daughter to another Hebrew man. And the Hebrew man that buys the daughter can either make his daughter his wife or have his son. I'm gonna have my son. I'm arranging this woman to get with my son. And the woman has no say. And the father has no say because he made the money. He made the deal. This is my woman now. I can do what I want. Or he can decide not to deal with her on a sexual level, or not have a son deal with her, but have her be a servant. But she's a Hebrew, so you got to put that in understanding. You don't treat her like a heathen woman, but she is a servant, and she's a servant for life because your father made that arrangement. You know, you gave X amount of silver, and the father was satisfied. Here's my daughter. You do what you want with her within the law. So if the man said, you know what, I'm going to make you my wife, she had no say in the matter. What if she bucked up against it? He can take it. He can take it. What if he said, I want you to marry my son, but she kind of has feeling for the father, but he says, nope, you're getting with my son. She bucks up against the son. The father says, just go ahead and take it. He can go ahead and take it. And you can't run to the judges, not like that. See, the reason why you guys get so emotional, like give you an understanding. What's that? Nia Long, one of the movies she made, she said, I'm emotional. And that's what you niggas are. You're emotional, man. You're emotional. I am emotion. When I see that scene, I think about you niggas. You read the scriptures and break this down, hit that scripture, come with that precept. But then when the grape doctrine came about, you niggas turned into damn Nia Long. You turned into Nia fucking Long, man. You got emotional. And you know what's ironic? We got a lot of sisters that follow us, man. Got a lot of sisters that follow us. Now, Nepal Shadar, she recently, within the last year, she came out and said, well, I don't know if she said that we were right or she studied on her own. She said that yes, you can grape a woman. Then why was she able to get it? And she's a woman. And you guys have been in this thing for 20, 30, 20, 25 years, 30 years, can't get it. Oh, Maharaka, you know, the formerly of One West, he's out there in the where is he, Ohio, whatever. He said he saw it a couple of years back. Oh, the Mighty Hebrew, y'all remember him, the Mighty Hebrew, he's out there in Africa. He said after he did a video. If I can find a video, I'll give it to you. He said, you know, I think them Tahar and the GMS, they right. I looked it up and they got a point there. Because you know what? They stopped getting emotional and they read the scriptures. You know? And see, the reason why I'm jumping all over the place, the reason why you got these wild animals out here, and I'm talking about Jake, you niggas make us look bad. You make us look bad. They had a video, a debate with Captain Tazariak against some Edomite and who's worse, white people, who commits more crimes. Well, I would have said, look, I'll say Jake commits more crime. You know why I say that? Because the scriptures say that we surpass the wicked in wickedness. So I'm not going to say, well, no, Jake. Well, why am I going to argue? The Most High speaks about the wicked. He speaks about Jake. It ain't a thing about, it ain't about how wicked a person is. It's about who the Most High chose. Malachi 1, Romans 9. You know, before they were born, having neither done any good or evil. So let's say the Edomite proves statistically that Jake commits more crimes than they got all the proof, all the facts, all the records. You know, sincerely got all the records. You know, and you can go check them out with the State Department or whatever, the county, and it comes out that Jake commits 78% of the crimes in America over white people. So you want to debate. The white man want to debate, but that's not the point. Because Jake, the scriptures speak about Jake being wicked, man. Read Jeremiah chapter 2, Jeremiah chapter 3. Mainly Jeremiah chapter 2. Speaks of them being like a wild ass used to the wilderness, man. And Jake is fucking wild, man. But what law is not applied? I'm all over the place. Please bear with me. What law is not applied? Deuteronomy 21, verse 18 on down to about the 21st verse. If that was applied, you wouldn't have no problems. And there was a reason why the Most High set that law in place, because you wouldn't have these crazy ass niggas out here, man. Jake got to go. So the Most High is he's gonna hit him with the besom of destruction. He's gonna hit them with that hot wind in Jeremiah. These niggas gonna stay here. These niggas, them niggas in the prison system, they can get burnt up in the prison system. Most High getting ready to do work. So anyway, let me get back into this. I'm a little excited. So now, let me come back over here. But if a man think that he behaveth himself uncommonly toward his virgin, which is a woman never been touched, if she passed the flower of her age, what does that mean? What does it mean by, I'm asking y'all Israelites out there, y'all scholars, what does it mean by the flower of her age? If she passed the flower of her age and need so require, let him do what he will. He sinneth not, let them marry. What is a marriage? The consummation of a marriage is when they have sex. So my question is, what does it mean by the flower of her age? So anyway, let's go back into this. I shouldn't have to go to Isaiah. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you this. This is the word. Let me let you hear it. Strong's G 1135. Gune. 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 It says woman, wife, right? Now, this is the word that's supposed to be in Matthew's chapter 1, where it speaks about behold a virgin. The word there should be gune, which means young woman. The Hebrew equivalent to that would be ayalama, which is Hebrew for young woman. If you don't go into the Hebrew and the Greek, if you don't go into these words, Hebrew and Greek is not a doctrine. Hebrew and Greek is part of the doctrine. A woman of any age, whether a virgin or married meaning consummation, or a widow, a wife of a betrothed woman, Betrothed meaning you don't have sex yet, but you're set up to marry this woman. And if a man takes a woman before the marriage, even though the main man didn't confirm it, she got put to death unless she screamed. That's where the rape thing comes in. So see, as long as you're stuck in your emotions, you're not gonna get this. And then you know what you're gonna get? If you don't get it, you're gonna get the lake of fire. And the lake of fire is not burning in hell forever, for eternity. Bishop General Nathaniel need to shut the fuck up and stop pushing out that bullshit, for he wound up in the lake of fire. That's some bullshit. That's some weak ass shit. That's some weak ass shit. The lake of fire, you burn forever in eternity. That's some old weak ass shit. That look, since IUIC is so great and so many people waking up and they coming with him, they see that they got the truth. Where has any of the GMS members stop say, oh, I'm not gonna be down with y'all no more, because when I saw General Nathaniel coming on that horse, I said, fuck GMS. Well, anybody that think that way, please go. Don't even tell us about it. Just go. Just go. Just go. Ain't nobody leaving no GMS. And GMS is just a term. GMS don't mean shit. It's about the Most High. That's why you niggas go out there cursing people out that want to kill your ass, man. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Because you guys do not follow the scripture. You do not go by the scriptures, man. You read scriptures. You quote scriptures. It says their heart. I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and bring it out, and I'm gonna close on this. So, what does it mean about a woman, and what does it mean by the flower of an age? Because the whole thing with polite is technically the polite biblically he didn't do nothing wrong, but yet then again he did, because he was laying with the young girl's mother and the daughter. So that's a law. That there's a law against that. You can't lay with your mother and your daughter. Jake be doing that shit. Man. That's the only law that he broke biblically. But then he got freaky with the woman. So that tells you what he had, according allegedly. But anyway, it's today is Wednesday. You got two more days. You got 48 hours. 48 hours and about 20 minutes before we find out. And I can imagine Jake being that. Jake gonna actually go down there. It's gonna be like the Million Man March right there in that court. And there's gonna be a lot of talking, a lot of videos on what he did. But you know what, Captain Tazariak, shalom to you, Captain. You made a statement about this whole thing with the case with Polite. You said that well, one thing, he shot up the Bible, and he came against GMS. GMS. I forget the exact words he said to Sarnetta. And so Captain Tazariak said, "I feel that's a judgment of the Most High," which he said it good. He said it good. He couldn't said it. I couldn't have said it better. He said because he did this, he did that. He pretty much, and that's what he said. He said that we rape women because we said it's okay. Biblically, you can rape a young girl if she's not engaged or to be married or married. Then he turned around and said these guys be going out raping girls, and then he wound up doing it. That's the epitome of the word. Am I using the word right? Epitome. That's the epitome of the word hypocrisy. I mean, that's a hypocrite. A hypocrite. And now I feel bad if the dude got to do 4 years. Hey, brother, that's kind of fucked up. But on the other end, you fucked around with the men of the Lord. So it's judgment day for you. And let's say you do a month in prison. That's not going to be a good look. A month in prison, you can do that shit on your head. But you're going to be stained forever. And then Sarnetta got to be involved as to when you're going to deal with him. Because if he says, I'm guilty on this charge, that charge, and that charge, meaning I did this and did that, but you gave me a deal. People get put to death in states where if you put somebody to death, the penalty is the death penalty. You get a good lawyer. His thing is, well, it's on camera. We can't get around it. But what we're going to do is we're going to ask for a deal. The deal would be life in prison, right? A better deal would be 25 years of life, meaning after 25 years, you could be eligible for parole. So that's what a good lawyer does. He knows that, look, we ain't going to win this case, but I'm going to try to get you a deal. So you did it. You killed this guy, first degree murder. They might chop it down to second degree involuntary manslaughter, or whatever. But you still murdered the guy. Everything you got it. They got you on tape saying, "I'm gonna kill that nigga. I'm gonna kill that nigga tomorrow." You kill him, so that's first degree murder. Then you got second degree murder. Then you got manslaughter. Then you got involuntary manslaughter. Then you got voluntary manslaughter. So if you say I plead, I take the deal for involuntary manslaughter, that might be, that could be 7 to 25. After 7 years, you're eligible for parole. So what do? Instead of being locked up for fucking life or being put to death, let me go with the 7. So you're saying you're guilty to the worst charge, but they gave you a deal. So they don't have to spend money going back and forth to court for the next 2-3 years. So if he says he's guilty, if he pleads to anything, that means he's taking a deal. He knows he did all that shit, that he got charges on him. And if they went, it's called blow trial. If you say I go to trial, they'll tell you, okay, you can get acquitted. But if you blow trial, you're going to be locked up for life, boy. All right? So anyway, this is where this whole controversy came about, where GMS became the worst camp because they're going out there telling young brothers to go out and rape. What young brother do you know that went out there and raped somebody? And by the way, in the Florida law, I read it, there's a statutory rape where a young woman agrees to having sex. She probably been around, but she's young. And then there's there's rape, involuntary rape or whatever. And that means you took the girl by force. So that statutory rape is some bullshit because she's a woman. Because when does a woman become a woman and when does a man become a man? Huh? Somebody please look up Luke, what is it? Luke 2 verse. You can start about the 40th verse, around the 41st, 42nd verse. But anyway, you know what? That's all I'm going to say. I can say more, but I'm not going to say any more. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.